Well, from the time that Linda and I spent after we left Hobo Shoestring's place in Tennessee, we haven't been traveling for fun. We've been, well, after we left Shoestring's place, we went down to visit Linda's sister down in Central Florida. And then a few days ago, we left there and started heading west. We were trying to get out of the humidity, but we had to get through the storms that were just nonstop, going one after the other through Tornado Alley, going from Texas to Georgia, you know. We were traveling right through that. So we drove 4 days straight, just long, hard days of driving. Now we finally made it back to where it's cooler and drier, very comfortable. We're in northeast New Mexico, camped at a state park here along Clayton Lake. It's absolutely beautiful. We intend to spend a couple of days here just kind of catching up on YouTube comments. There's hundreds of comments that we need to get to, so that's what we're going to be working on. Behind our campsite is this area called the Rock Garden, and we want to get up in there today and just do a little poking around and exploring and try to work the kinks out after driving for the last few days. Clayton Lake is a man-made lake, but of course there used to be a stream running through here, and I've already picked up flakes on the ground from Native American tool making, so you know that this was a popular site for them. We probably could have gotten here faster, but even though we were dodging storms, we still took the back roads. We stay off the interstates. We didn't travel down an interstate even one time in the last 4 days from Florida to here. But now that we're here, we're slowing back down and going back to traveling the way that we like to do it. Always on the back roads of America. That's where you find the most interesting people and places. Now I got to go make some coffee. Hey Linda, Stanley and I are going to make you some coffee.
Make mine good.
I got a new technique I'm going to try.
Yeah?
Look at this cute little fella. See him? Come on. Yeah. Tarantula. Okay, buddy, I'm going to leave you alone. Go on about your way. Rattlesnakes, tarantulas, scorpions, it's all just part of the fun here in central New Mexico. Linda and I are currently camped in a BLM campground at the Valley of Fires near Carrizozo, New Mexico. Pretty nice place. It has sites that have electricity and water, really clean bathrooms with showers that are they're free. They're just part of your overnight package. I think the rates here are $18 for a site with electricity and water, and of course the gazebo and the picnic table. And then if it's a site that doesn't have electricity and water, it's $12 a night. And if you're old like me with your Golden Age pass, it's half of that price. So down here we only paid $6 for that spot for the night. That's almost like camping for free. Well, pretty darn close anyway. It's a fairly peaceful campground. It's pretty nice here. Over on the other side, to the south here, it's all tent camping. Kind of beyond, down in the lower section down there. It's fairly early in the morning. You can see thunderstorms already starting to build, and every day we've been getting just pounded by thunderstorms. This afternoon it'll be the same thing again. Well, it was chilly a few minutes ago. I gotta get out of this jacket now. It's gonna be a little toasty today. Not only are these sites nicely covered, you know, with a picnic table, but every site has its own trash can. Linda can't get the lid off. Oh, there she goes. If you've camped in National Forest or BLM campsites, that's Bureau of Land Management, public land. If you've camped in campsites like that, you'll know that they're usually clean and nice, but you don't usually see them this well equipped. Well, this morning finds us out in the Tularosa Valley of New Mexico, and
We're just
go ahead.
we're just sitting on a old Pahoehoe lava flow. We're real familiar with lava for the years we lived on the Big Island of Hawaii.
I flew volcano tours for years. We and Linda and I together back then, this is in our younger days, we actually gave tours out to the flowing lava. We used to do that too. Yeah, we've walked on a lot of lava. But anyways, we just thought you might like to see this because not everybody can. And this is a huge lava flow. I think this one is on the surface here, it's about 5,000 years old. Plants and bushes and grasses, they start growing on lava within a few months after a flow. You'll start, lava is very fertile.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Hawaii, one of the first plants to grow is the ohia, and that little jaggedy fern.
Yeah, the ohia tree and that little fern, right?
Yeah.
And then what else? Our property in Hawaii was lava flow like this, and the first thing you have to do is hire a D9 bulldozer to come in and bust it all up and level it out. But we only had them do the driveway and the house spot location. And then we kept bringing coconuts back from the ocean, and I kept laying them around the perimeter of the property.
Yeah,
those are all huge coconut trees now.
In the cracks. You take the sprouted coconut, there's a coconut and then there's a plant, and you put it in the cracks, and that's all you do, and it grows. So our property in Hawaii is surrounded by all the coconut trees that we planted.
Yeah, huge coconut palms. And the other properties don't have it, and it was all free. Anyways, that's where we're at today. Lots.
And the Pahoehoe that we built our house on was about 155 years old. This is 5,000 years old. The rope lava in this flow is looks like it's 5,000 years old.
Right here in this camera angle, there's two kinds of lava. And actually, there are only two kinds of lava. There's the smoother Pahoehoe that you see in front of me, and then off in the distance here is the A'a, which is a chunky flow. It almost looks like it's been bulldozed. The Pahoehoe, like this right here, is actually solidified right like that from a molten state. An A'a flow is what's at the leading edge of a flow, and it's actually being bulldozed along by the molten flow behind it. So it's being broken up as it's being pushed. That's really hard to make your way across an A'a flow because it's so rough and sharp. New lava is actually blue. It's got a blue iridescence to it with hues of reds and oranges and greens in it at the same time. It's just beautiful stuff. This lava is old enough that it's lost that surface sheen, so it's not iridescent like it was. This is what Linda was referring to as rope lava because it resembles coils of rope.
Okay, we're gonna head back on the highway, but we just thought you guys might like to see this.
We're not too far from the Trinity test site where they tested the first nuclear bomb July 16, 1945. That bomb was set up on a 100-foot tall tower, and that was considered ground zero right there. They had test sites further back at different intervals. When that bomb went off, it created a crater 8 feet deep and a half a mile in diameter, and it turned all the sand into green glass. That was a small nuclear bomb. After that, the next nuclear explosion was Hiroshima in Japan. Anyways, I'm not too far from it. Thought I'd mention it, but I'm no expert. I'll tell you what I do know though. I lost my father and my younger brother to radiation poisoning. My dad worked on nuclear warheads from 1948 on. I used to ask him, "Dad, what do you do for a living?" He says, "Oh, I work on missiles." I knew he was an aircraft mechanic earlier on, so when he said he was working on missiles, I thought, nuts and bolts, wrenches and screwdrivers. No, he was working on nuclear warheads. But by the time he reached his late 60s, he passed away from radiation poisoning. And thing was that I had a younger brother that was 6 years younger than me, and when he was 33 years old, he passed away from the effects of that, because Dad would come home from work and pick up the baby, my little brother, and not realize that he was passing that on through contamination. They both died from a real severe type of cancer. I won't go into it, but there's that. Anyways, what a beautiful area this is. We just left Socorro, New Mexico, heading on west on Highway 60, and we came to Water Canyon Road, and it says there's national forest beyond. We don't know what's up this road, but the idea is to go look for a spot to camp. And as is normal for us, we have no idea what's down this road. We very may well find a dead end and have to come all the way back out, but we'll find out. Well, so far so good, but just because you're entering national forest doesn't mean you're going to find a spot to disperse camp. Just have to see. We came across a sign that said Water Canyon Campground, but it pointed this way, and this is a narrow road. It don't look so good. I just hope I don't have to back out of here or something. And the white stuff that you see on the sides of the road periodically is from a major hailstorm that they just got here a few minutes ago. Man, this is rough. So this is what it looks like pulling in, and we still don't know anything about it. Of course, it's possible to get all this information online ahead of time, but that's not possible when you're on a road trip and you're just traveling day to day.
We didn't have cell service.
And there's no cell service up in this area. So that's close enough. There's the bubble. Too low in the nose, so I'll have to jack the nose up. This is real coarse gravel, thick stuff, big stuff. And it's just been laid. I think we're the first ones to drive on it. I had to dig out there for the tire to go down a bit. See, I mentioned they just had a hailstorm, pea size, but this just happened. I hope we don't get any more of that. Beautiful area though. Free campsite, national forest. We're up here with the cedar trees and the pine trees, and still there's cactus, and we've got to be 6,500 to 7,000 feet where we're at right now. It is beautiful. And it wasn't all that hard getting back in here, except for that last, I don't know, half a mile of really bad dirt road that they're working on. But now that we're back in here, it's pretty nice. In Socorro, New Mexico, we had to do all the stops. We had to wash clothes. Typical, one dryer, you put it on high, it just stays cold. The other one is hot, but you only get half of the, it says 16 minutes, you only get 8 minutes. One of the, typical commercial laundromat like that. Very few good ones, most of them take your chances. Then I went to the car wash because our outfit was just really dirty. And I spent $10 in there, and the car is still all covered with scum because the pressure there wasn't any pressure. It was just like, might as well have been spraying with my garden hose. I did clean the trailer with a brush that they had there, a foam brush, but I didn't want to use the foam brush on the car, so got that done. Then we went out for burgers. No, we went to Walmart. That went okay. And then we went out for burgers, and just this little hole-in-the-wall burger place served great, big, fat New Mexico burgers. They were pretty good. Anyways, that's where we're at. Well, we're at the very large array Visitors Center. And this is the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. This is just a few miles west of Magdalena on Highway 60 in New Mexico. And we just saw all these dishes out in the desert here. They stretch for miles. And we were wondering what it was and thought we'd stop by. So let's go in and take a look. We're going to do a bit of a walking tour here outside. The sound quality is going to be really bad because we're not allowed to use our wireless microphones. But we'll give you a peek anyway.
These aren't in the dish itself, but I think this is to explain how they get the volts from the light rays from the sun.
She says she just made all that up. No, she didn't. But this is so beyond us, and I think it's why Linda and I enjoy history so much, is because we can understand that technology. This particular very large array is made up of 27 dish antennas spread out across an area of 22 miles. Yeah, kind of a big deal. Okay, now the wind noise is gonna make for bad audio here, but this is a type of sundial that actually we're used to the old-fashioned ones that measure the time of day, and I think this one does that also, but it also measures winter and summer solstice by the shadow that it casts. All right, these two parabolic dishes opposite each other are supposed to focus sound waves. If you stand in front of one, you're supposed to hear your faint voice of your partner at the other one. We're going to try it. Okay, now, so don't yell at me, it might hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, so Linda's going to that one. I can hear her whisper from here, even though she's standing over there.
Yeah, this is crazy. We need to have these in the house. Or, you know, when you talk to me from the living room and I'm downstairs.
Cool, Linda. They say the reason they chose this site is because it's high in elevation, it's flat, and far from any city to reduce radio wave interference. These things are a lot bigger when you get up close. They're actually huge. Like I mentioned, this antenna array is 22 miles across. And right here they tell us about how the difference in width of the array affects how sharp an image they get. This is what you would get if the array was just a half a mile across, or 0.6 miles across. It's pretty blurry. This is 2 miles across. This is 7 miles across. It's starting to get sharper. And this is 22 miles across, and they could finally make out the signature burps of an active supermassive black hole. So one of these dishes is much, much larger than a single optical telescope. But the radio telescope sees different things than an optical telescope. And that's what makes them kind of cool. But also the array has to be huge. This is the hub of the VLA, the operations control building. And one thing that caught my eye is it says it churns through 16 quadrillion calculations a second. Wow. And from up here, you get an indication about how big this array is. It goes off into the distance. So sorry about the audio on that, but I'm still in the parking lot, so I can't turn on the wireless mics here either till we get several miles away. But this was the Karl G. Jansky Very Large Array. It's in western central New Mexico along Highway 60, in case you want to stop. And if you've got more of a technical brain than me, you're really going to enjoy it. We're just driving out from the telescope now. And one thing I can tell you is before we even got here, we started noticing white pickup trucks parked here and there out in the distance, just everywhere. And just coming out of here, we passed, I think, 3 just from leaving the exit. So there's security driving all over the place and watching very carefully. Kind of like Area 51 with the white trucks. Same thing here. Linda and I stopped back there to take a picture with a big thunderhead in the background, in addition to the front. And now I've got one of those people on my tail, following right behind the car. Highway's coming up though. He's just making sure we're leaving. No, I don't know, but he did start following us at that point.